Hello everyone, welcome to the first lecture of Biotechnology and Society. My name is Joy Hamago and I am your professor for this class. Before I proceed, I would like to warn you in advance that I will be showing some photos that may be a bit uncomfortable for you, but trust that I have a reason for doing so. So let's get started. I have titled this presentation today, Never Again. Never again that we would see this kind of photo in our lifetime. This is one of the famous photos taken by international journalists when famine broke out in Somalia in 1998. Somalia is a country in Africa, and it is sad to note that the African continent has recorded many periods of famine, severe famine, in its history. I became aware of this plight, of this problem, when I was a graduate student in UPLB. And I have this immediate response in my brain that I don't want to see such kind of human suffering again in my time, not in my watch, if I could help it, if we could help it. Or these photos. So a lot of children were the ones who were hit the hardest when famine broke out in Somalia. Children who have a long future ahead of them, but who have experienced so much suffering and who actually have lost their lives. The one that hurts me the most is the one at the bottom right, the photo on the bottom right. A kid who is trying to get some nourishment from the mother who also has nothing to provide for the kid. So I don't know what else to use aside from the word heartbreaking. Maybe it's also spirit breaking. It breaks the heart and it breaks the spirit. And when we see these kinds of photos, when we know that there had been conditions of human suffering such as this, what should be our response? Is there anything that we can do? Those are some of the questions that I often ask, at least to myself. Or this photo. I have 6 pamangkins, I have 3 nephews, and I have 3 nieces, and I can never imagine seeing them like this. Kids who are so malnourished, who are begging for food, who are close to desperation, whose eyes reflect so much sadness and suffering. So, never again that we should see something like this, and especially in our country. Our country is having definitely a lot of concerns, and we still have a major problem about food insecurity, but hopefully not like this. Because this is the kind of photo that we would like to see. Happy children, vibrant, healthy, and just sharing so much joy about their life. This is the kind of future I would like Filipino children to have, and for the other countries in the world. So human civilizations throughout history, have developed many technologies through the years. And because of our intelligence, our creativity, our curiosity, and basically what they call our cerebral revolution, we have lived better lives and we have created better communities. And this is the kind of world that we hope everyone to have. So without technologies, perhaps life would not be as adequate, as livable, as satisfying. So we see these photos of some of the best cities in the world. On the top left is the Eiffel Tower of France, and the Eiffel Tower is an architecture and an engineering marvel. It is beautiful, and I hope that all of us would be able to visit the place within our lifetime. The one in the top right is the Central Park of New York, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, one of the most expensive also. And it is surrounded by skyscrapers. And the one on the bottom left is Tokyo, Japan, which is recognized for the red tower, which they call the Tokyo Tower. And next to that on the bottom right would be a famous structure in Chicago, Illinois. And that is, well, we nicknamed that structure the Bean, because Illinois is actually part of the Midwest, and one of their best crops would be soybean. It really looks like soybean. And the one on the farthest right at the bottom would be two of the famous iconic structures of London, the red telephone booths and Big Ben, the clock. So all these beautiful cities in the world have become what they are because of the technologies that human civilizations have developed. And we are attracted to these kinds because, well, they are the trophies. They magnify the achievements of humanity and of society. And we don't have to go far. This is in our country. This is Makati City. Okay. Makati City is celebrated as one of the best cities in the country. And again, you can see a lot of tall buildings, a lot of big businesses, and pretty much it is the standard of what we want a city to be. So these celebrated cities would not become what they are if humans have not developed many different kinds of technologies. So let's have a common definition of what technology is. The word technology is not alien to you. It is a very common word in our vocabulary, and there are so many definitions of it. Some are very long definitions, some are very short. So what I did is to pull out the simplest definitions I can find. And this would be the definitions that we need to bear in mind as we discuss this subject throughout the semester. So from dictionary.com, technology is the application of knowledge for practical ends. Okay? It is the application of knowledge, of what we know, for practical use or uses. Another definition is from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Technology is a manner of accomplishing a task, especially using technical processes or methods or knowledge. So there is a common denominator to these two definitions. Technology is doing what we do and creating what we could make based from what we know, based from what we have learned. So the understanding of something, the knowing of something, would lead us to creating something, to doing something. And a technology is developed because it usually would be useful for people. With that definition in mind, then we can say that even the chimpanzees, our closest relatives, based on our genomic homology, they are actually our cousins. They also have a concept of technology. In these pictures, the chimps are using some kind of tools to fish out ants and termites from under the ground, because ants and termites are actually food for them. So on the left, the chimpanzee used a blade of grass in order to use as a fishing bait, fishing pole, or to take out. I think what would happen is that ants would try to crawl onto the end of that blade, and when they come up, then they would be eaten by the chimp. The one on the right actually is using a twig, a dried twig, to again fish out either ants or termites from the hill. Okay? So this is technology, and apparently even the primitive species of our kind, have concepts of what technology is. Or this art or depiction of our European ancestors, Homo neanderthals. I don't know the specific species of this particular ancestor of ours, but you can see that they have already developed some technologies. Now they have some kind of clothing, they have more sophisticated tools, and I think by this time, they have already invented fire to cook their food, and also to serve as protection from predators. Or this photo of some primitive people of Santa Cruz Island in Oceania. Oceania is in Central and South Pacific Ocean. So Australia is part of that region of Oceania. And in this photo, you can see more technologies being developed by humans. They have technologies, they have cosmetics for decoration. They have better tools, they have better clothing, and pretty much there is really progress in human civilization because of what people have developed and created. So aside from technology, there is what you call better technologies. In fact, there is a survey every year wherein people would vote or suggest what are the cutting edge technologies or state-of-the-art technologies for a particular year. So better technologies refer to methods, systems, and devices which are the results of scientific knowledge being used for practical purposes. So earlier we defined technology as the application of knowledge, of what we know. But we can actually develop better technologies when we produce a kind of knowledge that is logical, systematic, proven, empirical, and validated. And that's why all of you will be trained to do research, to do a scientific inquiry, and at the end of that activity, either you produce new knowledge or you produce solutions to some kind of problems that you would like to solve. So the key phrase there that is underscored is scientific knowledge, not just any ordinary knowledge, but knowledge that is proven by the method of science. So let's look at the picture on top. That is one of the cutting edge technologies that people have produced in recent years. That is the wireless charging pad. So you can charge your smartphone, your power banks, your smartwatches on that pad without looking or being crazy about wires. That's why it's called wireless. So that's kind of amazing. Or this next photo here. You can see a farmer with a tablet in hand, and this tablet has many applications that he or she can use. I think it's a he, that he can use in order to help him identify concerns in his farm and make the most or the best solutions or the best decisions that he could do in order to make his crop production enterprise as productive as he could. Or this bottom picture here, which shows a drone being used in a farm to apply chemicals, whether organic chemicals or synthetic chemicals. So these are examples of better technologies that people in our current society, in our current world have developed. And indeed, there would be more cutting-edge technologies if we really put to good use everything that we know and everything that we have understood in a deeper level. So let me ask the question, what are the other technologies we have used in our society? There are actually a lot. So mechanical technology, we have so many machines, big or small, that we use today. Chemical technology, from medicines to food to cosmetics, many other things. So that's the contribution of chemical technology. Or communication technology. Okay, what we do now is an example of the advances in communication technology. The current pandemic does not allow us to do a face-to-face class or lecture or interaction, so we have to do this kind of flexible or online learning class, and without this we would be at a loss how to continue giving you quality education. Or geological technology, in order to understand the resources of our world, of our planet. Electrical technology, industrial technology, computational technology, information technology, and I think there would be more. So these are just some of the technologies that our current society are using, and we have benefited so much from these technologies. And for this entire semester, this is the technology that we will be talking about, that we will try to understand on a deeper level, that we would try to dissect and scrutinize so that we would know its risks and its advantages. So this is biological technology, or what we call biotechnology. A few days back, I made a search in Google and typed in different types of technology, and there were many sites that came out. And this is one of the sites which gave me 16 different types of technology, from communication technology, number 1, to, of course, number 13, agriculture technology, even to number 16, entertainment technology. So, according to this website, there are 16 different types of technology. There was another website that gave me a list of 20. I think there are actually a lot. Depends on how we label or categorize the technologies that humans have developed through the years. What is glaringly missing here is biotechnology, and I wonder why that is the case. Or maybe they put in biotechnology under medical technology, which is number 4, or number 13, agriculture technology. But going back, all these technologies were developed, supposed to be, because we would like to see a better society, for humans to live decent and happy lives. So never again that we would see severe kinds of human suffering. And That is one of the rationale why we have this course, Biotech and Society. By the way, I don't have this book, and I'm trying to find a way to access this book. Biotechnology and Society now is a required course for all of you. Way back, well, after I finished my master's, I came back to CMU and was asked to develop one course. And I did develop a course, and that was crop biotechnology. That was Agric or Agron 57 or 58 way back then. It was a subject which is an elective class for our majors in the department. And then through the years, I think starting sometime in 2013, every student in the college was required to take a subject on biotechnology. And it should tell you something, that particular requirement to take this course is very telling of how important this technology is for agriculture people. And recently, even the Department of Biology had made sure that they would also offer a biotech subject for their own majors. The way they developed the course would be intended for their students to proceed to the medical profession. So this requirement of Biotech and Society for all agri students tells us how relevant and how important this is in order for us to have a progressive and advanced agriculture. So let me ask this question. What is the most organic technology? By the way, I know that you have a different subject. I think it's Agric. I forgot the code. But you have another subject on organic agriculture. So keep that in mind when you think of this question. What is the most organic technology? The answer is this: the ones developed from living matter, which are actually biotechnologies. Because the most basic definition of what organic is that organic is relating to or derived from living matter. So when you talk about organic agriculture, organic pesticides, organic fertilizers, biological control, and all those principles of organic technology, of organic agriculture, are actually under the entire umbrella of biotechnology. So organic ag is a component of what biotechnology is, because what we utilize as a very important resource would be living things and living matter. I'd like you to imagine a world without technologies. I'd like you to imagine humanity without technologies. I'd like you to imagine a society without any technology. Personally, I cannot imagine a society without those things. It would be extremely difficult for all of us if we don't have the things and the tools that we utilize now, if we don't have the knowledge that we have now in order to live better lives. I cannot imagine a world without technology. And biotechnology is part of that world. So let's now start focusing on biotechnology. Unfortunately, biotechnology is so underutilized, at least in the country. It is so unoptimized because of a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misinformation, lack of understanding, even fear, and perhaps many other reasons. Biotechnology is also misused because some people are just irresponsible and some people are just greedy. And so this beautiful technology that we have used for so many years is kind of placed in a gray area. Some people are very appreciative of what biotech is, and then another group of people are so cautious and skeptical about this technology. However, old biotech products are highly acceptable. But what is questioned in a very ununderstandable manner would be modern biotechnologies. So we have an entire semester to discuss these things and to really dig deeper into these controversies also. Okay, so biotechnology actually have two major categories before I proceed to the next slide. There would be the traditional biotechnology, and there would be the modern biotechnology. So let's see how much biotech we use every day, okay, every day in our lives. I pulled out the most substantial definition of biotechnology. So it is defined as the use of living systems and organisms or substances from them to develop or make products. It is also defined, or the continuation of the definition is that, or it is any technological application that uses biological systems, living organisms, or derivatives thereof to make or modify products or processes for specific use. So these would be the definition from the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, Article number 2. I think this was published way back in 1993, so that all countries under the UN would have the same concept and understanding of what biotech is, for them to be on the same page. So this is the well-accepted definition of biotechnology for every country that has expressed its support of biotechnology as a very important technology to help their country develop or become progressive. So let's look at some of these products. These are actually products of traditional biotechnology. So bread and cheeses and wines and coffee, the good old coffee. Imagine if you don't have these things. I can't. I am a bread person, and specifically in the Philippines, there's like a bakery at every canto. So we are some of the people in the world who really love our bread. And we also love cheeses, although for many of us, cheese is still very expensive. It's because often we do not produce the cheese. And we'll go back and talk about cheeses in the next lectures to come. And there are many of us who really appreciate wine, or perhaps beer, or perhaps the other versions of this beverage. But coffee is a global industry. Many brands have become very famous because of coffee, of how they have developed the coffee industry into a billion-dollar business enterprise. Or definitely the usual thing that we have in whatever kind of celebration that Filipinos have, whether the first month of a baby, the second month of the baby, the third month of the baby, often we try to have some cakes to celebrate. And all these things actually make use of living systems and living organisms in order to create these products. Or one of the favorite beverages of, why is it called beverage? I saw a joke, I forgot, in FB, that perhaps in the Philippines, Yakult would be sold in litro, because Filipinos are crazy about Yakult. Most Filipinos are crazy about Yakult. So Yakult is what? A probiotic drink. And for this particular size of Yakult, every bottle of Yakult contains 6.5 billion of Lactobacillus casei. So think about that. In every bottle, there are live bacteria, and they're estimated to be 6.5 billion in number. And that's what you take in whenever you drink Yakult, because you would like to what? Help your digestion. And that's what? Biotechnology. And this is the kind of technology, biotechnology, that we want to be produced as soon as possible. The coronavirus COVID-19 vaccine. This is what many of us are praying for and are hoping for, that before December, I hope that we would celebrate December on a happier note, that we don't have to worry about infection and be sad about people we know and we care about becoming infected and losing lives because of the virus. And yeah, vaccines would be one form of biotechnology. I will try to provide a link below on how vaccines are made. Okay, so I said that because I will be posting this lecture in my YouTube channel, and I will provide the link of how a vaccine is developed and made, so that you can also see that and have a good understanding of how vaccines are made. In our current world, we still have so many major problems. The one on the left is a boy which has severe cataract on both eyes. And that is actually due to vitamin A deficiency. Maybe there are other reasons, but we know that the lack of vitamin A often leads to this kind of problem. So poor vision, poor eyes, development of cataract and other eye problems is actually due to nutritional problems. And it's not only vitamin A that is vitamin A deficiency which is a problem in the world. There are other types of deficiencies, and we need to talk about that. Or the one on the right, showing a farmer which is what? Disappointed, frustrated, very problematic about the severe drought in his farm. And this is because of the changing climate that we are experiencing right now. It is August, and before, many years back when I was a kid, I know that August is harvest time for corn. That August would be less rain and starting to go to the dry months. But August these days is still very rainy in our part of the world, in our part of the country. Okay? So let me remind you again about the Millennium Development Goals. I always remind every class I have about the SDGs, because during this period from 2000 to 2015, you were born during this period. And these were the goals of the world, of the member countries of the United Nations. These are the goals they have set to attain within 15 years to make the world we have a better place to live in. So number one goal, the number one MDG was to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Remember the photos that I showed you earlier of this famine in Somalia? That was extreme hunger. That was extreme poverty. And we don't want that anymore. So of course we know that there is still hunger in this world. There is still poverty, but not to that extreme of losing human dignity. Okay? And second goal is to achieve universal primary education. I would like to emphasize on that. So the country, for every student, pupil in this country, primary education was free for a long, long time already, because the Philippines subsisted or agreed to the goal of the MDGs. Primary education is really very important because during our grade years, when we are in grade school, we are taught the basic skills that are very helpful to live a decent life. We were taught how to count, to read, to write, to relate to people, to appreciate honesty and cleanliness and all those basic values. And those are the things we learn in primary education. That's why primary education in this country is free. Okay? And I will no longer elaborate on each of the other goals, but yeah, these were the goals of the world, and the Philippines agreed to these goals to provide resources and to develop programs and activities in order to address each goal, because we still have these concerns in our country. And now we come to this time. Now we are actively involved in this new set of goals of the world. These are the SDGs. So these are the goals from 2016 to 2030. It is already 2020 and we are having a lot of challenges, and the foremost challenge we have now is COVID-19. We have 10 years to go before we evaluate ourselves how far have we gone through the SDGs. But I hope and I believe that you have been made aware of the SDGs even starting in your senior high. So number 1 is no poverty, number 2 is zero hunger, number 3 is good health and well-being, and all the other SDGs, from 8 MDGs to 17 SDGs. And agriculture is a very relevant field to address most, if not all, of the SDGs. And biotechnology is definitely one of the technologies that we need to optimize, we need to fully utilize in order to address each of the important goals of the new millennium. Because this is what I believe in as Aggie people, as Aggies. It seems extremely irresponsible and ironic in our part if we do not make an utmost effort to understand deeper a technology that our sector is developing and using for thousands of years. Remember that agriculture began about 12,000 years ago? When you were in high school, the books would always say 10,000 years ago. It's already 2020. So the recent books have added 2 more years to that. So now it's about 12,000 years ago that agriculture had begun. And even if we say that Philippine agriculture still has so many things to achieve, but we have made progress through the years, and it is because of our knowledge, it's because of our understanding, and it's because of the technologies that we have developed. But again, I'd like to remind you that one of the technologies that we have not optimized or maximized is biotechnology, because of many issues then. So if you would like to learn ahead about our subject or about biotechnology, I encourage you to visit this website of CIRCA, their Biotechnology Information Center. Their mantra is empowerment through shared information, and you can find them in www.bic.circa.org, or you can just search or Google. Another website is www.isaa.org. That is of the International Services for the Acquisition of Agri-Tech Applications. Both CIRCA and ISAA are based in the Philippines. Okay? And these are actually international institutions and organizations that are based in the Philippines because I believe that they have capitalized on the good communication skills of Filipinos. But ISAA has also the mantra, we feed the world with knowledge. And we go back to how we understand technology. We create things, we do things better because we know more and we know better. So this would be all for our introduction to this course. And if you have questions or clarification, you can comment below in the comment section or in our Google Classroom. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm gonna see you. My hands are making the air quotes. I'm gonna see you or talk to you in the next lecture. And with that, I say bye and have a good day.